They cross the void beyond the mind. Empty space that circles time. They see to another stubborn blind. To seek a truth you'll never find. Eternal wisdom is their guide. Any suggestions, Doctor?
Okay, expanding on previously mentioned videos and recent inquiries of the scientific community, I shall explain the source and origin of the enigma called quasar stars. How are they formed and where are they found? I shall also be going over an issue of curiosity for those beyond our world who were seeking information on the clone genetic disorder involving sterility. Now, this may shock you if you were literally born yesterday, but the clone genetic sterile issue is not a subject that can be altered. Standard regulation involving all clone models that are manufactured are required to set controlled moderation of the reproduction of the cloned models to be set at 70 generations, no more. This required design method is necessary for infestation and overpopulation reasons, and any model that does not meet the standard regulation requirements will not be allowed access to any clone facilities, as they will be considered unregistered models. All models that are registered are maintained by a separate system that will replace any damaged models with the information held on board. That's the textbook rule. And even further bad news is that the specific markers that highlight this degenerative failsafe I found within their records of known medical issues being studied. Currently, its fatality ratio of 13% of all cases containing the highlighted chromosome Y male sterility gene. Also, the female-to-male common birth ratio is roughly 1 male to every 6 children born. These factors, when compared to the Venetian records of the Amazonian crystal skull vessel and the fragmented history of the Amazonians and the subjugation of their male species. Once the sterility issue had spread to every male, making natural survival impossible since only female children were born after that. With the males unable to produce any male children, the female population enslaved the remaining men. As they died off slowly, the Amazonian women, the last of the colonial inhabitants that dwelled on Venus when they went to war with Mars 500 million years ago, that was described by the ancient ancestors of the Hopi to be that of the ancient War of the Sky Gods. The Amazonians, however, discovered one of the ancestral ships that had brought the first colonists to Venus. They slowly, over time, managed to repair the ship's systems that were fried from the catastrophic disasters that followed after the final weapons of that war were fired, almost completely destroying both planets' atmospheres and technology that was on the surface when it happened. They managed to repair it enough to get it to travel into space, and they had been monitoring the events between their cousins who both had abandoned them on Venus, with neither one coming to rescue them. They were genetically designed using the same basic clone manufacturing methods and drawn from the same stock. Basically, the plasmodial strain of the replicant code before it developed into a cross-hybrid viral contagion was the basic clone DNA sample that was used in all cloning procedures, the template model. You see, their system was set up with a genetic CRISPR-type augmentation process that would enhance the naturally developed hereditary traits. But the initial cloning phase worked from a template design that was blank and totally synthetic and artificial in design. Then the basic cellular data would be applied, usually drawn from the stock of the progenitor species who designed the Palladian and Draconian Merkaba clone models. But that stock went sour and became unusable a long time ago. Prolonged and continuous use caused it to eventually dilute its genetic material. Without the genetic data that authorized their use to continue their war after their extinction, the Palladian and Draconian Merkaba no longer had the drive to continue their war and called a truce, which brought an end to the War of the Sky Gods' First War. However, this truce was short-lived, as the Draconian Merkaba, who were made and designed specifically for war, could not deny their genetic purpose. Wait. There is a flaw in their record system here. It says that the Draconians launched a preemptive strike against delegates from Solaris that were here in an assassination attempt, but that is not accurate. That assassination attempt listed to have occurred within their records of the rebellion of Enlil and Enki and the ambush during their transport back to Solaris caused by the ones in Orion was not the ones responsible. The system labeled them as the ones who caused that because of the methods used. Draconians have always been a scavenger-type society, taking what they find and reverse engineering it for their own use. The vessel that attacked Dwarka was the type used by the Draconians, and it was more of their ancestors' type of technology than the Solarians because it was a Warship-class vessel. But it was neither Paladin or Draconian that were responsible for the scenario of the rebellion. That was a previously unknown colony of survivors that had salvaged the vessel and tried to strike at the core of who they considered their enemies for turning their backs on them and abandoning them. The Dwarka watchtower was attacked, but repelled the warship by damaging its orbital stabilizers. Unable to maintain flight stability or ability to hover, the ship went down in the western sky after being hit over the skies of Africa and became a notable event known as the fall of the Sky Palace of Pazuzu that fell into the sea, still heading west. The ship crash-landed in the South American region, and the Mayan recorded it as the coming of the Sky People. The Venetian women knew that a vessel would be sent to finish them off, so they reappropriated the ship's cloning and augmentation technology to take full-grown humans and augment their skills, turning them into a type of super soldiers. This process was a very complicated procedure. In order for the augmentation process to work as they had intended and create this army of super soldiers, they had to go through drastic preparations. Because of the chemicals used to alter their genetic design, the heart of the subject had to be replaced with an artificial heart that also became the power source for the cybernetic technology some were grafted with, as they had stripped some of the weapons off of the ship and crafted them to the augmented soldiers. Hold on, I've made an error, but only slightly. The temple in Ecuador is a Nephilim augmentation facility from the antediluvian era, and this recorded event is from an era older than the antediluvian era, as one of the pre-existing temple structures on Earth. So this temple in Ecuador is sealed and cannot be unlocked without the proper Palladian-style sound resonance ketone pattern that is reminiscent of their technology. Well, on to the next topic, quasar stars. How are they formed and where to find them? Quasars are the largest stellar objects known in the universe. They're created from the raw solid particles fused in the early formation of existence around the time frame of just before the moment of expansion to the fusion of particle gas nebulous into solid matter. These highly concentrated objects of unfiltered newly fused matter were the first aspects that caused the inertia of the cosmic web to form. Their current theory of the universe appearing in condensed regions instead of the Big Bang is correct. In fact, they both are. Let me explain. Their concept of the beginning materializing is not the beginning of the universe. That is the formation of the primordial void that existed before existence began. It began due to the expulsion of matter that has reached the speed velocity beyond the speed of light caused by the ejection of matter from the event horizon's vortex of a black hole, the relativistic jets. Now going over Einstein's theory and applying it to Hawking's theory, we will see that nothing is truly infinite. Everything forms into a physical object, decays over time, and then crumbles back into that which it was made from. Not even the gravity well of a black hole. We just could not see what occurred past a certain point. We knew stuff went in but never came out, and did not have the equipment to see the full process of what occurred after that point, so rightly named the event horizon. What occurs beyond the event horizon is a torrential funnel leading towards a central vector point, much different than what scientists imagine, involving the spaghettification of everything around you, though that aspect is only a part of the process. The spaghettification is the beginning of true atomization of you, which actually strips your molecular structure of every binding bit of energy and the torrential gravitational forces that are colliding within this vortex center, as the rest of you is shredded around at high velocities. The less fused matter there is, then the faster the particles that made up that matter can travel until it reaches beyond the speed of light. When that happens, the particles are ejected beyond the boundaries of existence because they have exceeded the momentum that existence maintains its structure with, and hurling into the primordial void before anything existed. The buildup of these non-linear particles is what first formed the presence of space, but it had no tangible form for existence, and time had not yet occurred. Then came the inertia, me, but it has always been safer to refer to me as the son of the morning star, for none may look upon the blah, blah, blah. This one concept can be applied to both questions of why was there a need for the hidden truths. Because I am the maker of all that is, was, and shall be. I knew what Satan had planned for the church and the people, that he would rise upon their war against me to try and make some overdramatic attempt to take what I have and do what all monkeys love to do, wave it around in the air while fling their poo at everyone. That is one of the reasons why I did not plan on making any glorified throne to rise upon the revelation to who I am before the world. That is why I said nothing about what I experienced for almost 20 years afterward. So the quasar were created during the formation of the galactic bodies, say, about 1.5 million years after the expansion era's source of inertia, the Big Bang, which is when existence technically began, as did time. Those primordial fused particle matter eventually settled into binary black hole core objects that we see as galactic spiral objects, such as our galaxy, are actually the parts of the quasar star we can detect with the technology we have now. Those relativistic jets are the threads of its polarized regions that plume outward and create the spherical shape of the surface of the quasar. Galaxies that contain life in them would contain them within sunspot-like cool and not as turbulent regions on the galaxy that is, in its entirety, below the surface of the star. The other topic had to do with ADHD or bipolar disorders in general. I'm only going to go over this quickly because my brain feels like it just got into a 3-round fight with Muhammad Ali, and so am the abridged version of it. Bipolar disorder, I believe, is caused by early civilization inbreeding that slowly diminished from physical deformation issues to skin pigmentation conditions to where it has now led to the imbalance of biochemical levels produced in the brain. That's it in a nutshell. And like that, poof, I am gone. Ruta, Zuta, Zoot. AHA.
Pennies, which one won? Both two clowns with an itch undone. One from the past, claiming he's better. One from the future, claiming he's terror. Not up to me, the choice it is yours. Fear it is locked, who opens your doors? Either way, death is certain. Penny your penny or closing your curtains. Hey there, bucko, original OG checking in. Don't pretend like you don't know me. I'm a menace, go and get cozy while I dispatch these loser club phonies. Let me teach you a lesson, subtle. Blow him in gentle, then hit him with a shovel. Boom, got it all wrong, all brawn, all muscle. Make him think that you wanna snuggle, then guzzle every single ounce of the blood, really so supple. Use the clown gig, bring him back to the tunnel. Gotta be smart, cut down on the hustle. Play up the part, do you even juggle? I'm a real clown, but I don't play games. Take aim at the kiddies till they go insane. It's a regular throw, and that is the danger. Teaching the lessons of playing with strangers. Two pennies, which one? Both two clowns with an itch undone. One from the past, claiming he's better. One from the future, claiming he's terror. Not up to me, the choice it is yours. Fear it is locked, who opens your doors? Either way, death is certain. Penny or closing your curtains. New and improved, I've taken your blueprint. Made it so mentally, every kids lose grip. Horror I am, and terror incarnate. And when I target, nothing but carnage. King of the darkness, making them float. Don't need to act on a joke to provoke. Remember Georgie, bright yellow coat? I traded his arm for the chance at a boat. Stay in the past, you're not even scary. I am the fear that is swallowing dairy. Camp on the sidelines, make balloon animals while I try to fit this kid in my mandibles. Not even relevant, keep your advice. You're even a joke in this rap battle, Christ. I'm taking this thing to new heights, so look for the sequel, I'm doing this twice. So that's how it is, you figured this out? I've eaten more kids than you'll fit in your mouth. Lesbian clowns should honor my presence, your fear it is rising with every sentence. Listen you hack, I'll give you a present. Come in real close, cause shouting's unpleasant. There you go Penny, I've got a surprise. Now look at the light while I eat you alive. Two pennies, which one? Both two clowns with an itch undone. One from the past, claiming he's better. One from the future, claiming he's terror. Not up to me, the choice it is yours. Fear it is locked, who opens your doors? Either way, death is certain. Penny or closing your curtains. Two pennies, which one? Both two clowns with an itch undone. One from the past, claiming he's better. One from the future, claiming he's terror. Not up to me, the choice it is yours. Fear it is locked, who opens your doors? Either way, death is certain. Penny or closing your curtains.
Where angels This will be a section that I will try to ascribe solely for the purpose of listing the progression of my angelic heritage and my lineage to the matriarchs of our bloodline, the rebel angels and the watchers, or better known as the principalities, who were sent to Earth with Lucifer long ago to watch over mankind and observe their emotional turmoil they experience throughout life and how they react to challenges and obstacles. However, now that I have finished writing, I will say that I failed miserably at this and have been led astray and off topic so egregiously that I shall have to attempt this again later after bringing much suffering and torment upon the source of my aversion. First, I should list here the reasons for the flood and what truly occurred now that we are in the age of iniquity, and the ones responsible are here and have been cornered or dealt with by now. I take you back to the exile from Eden as Satan is being cast into his serpent form.